just become one of the estimated 20% of runners who will be sidelined by shin splints this year. That nagging pain has a name called medial tibial stress syndrome, and it's one of the single most common reasons runners are forced to stop running. That moment when the joy of running gets stolen by the sharp shooting pain of shin splints is a frustration every runner dreads. It starts as a whisper, an ache you can just dismiss after a run, but pretty soon that whisper becomes a scream. It's a pain that can make walking down the stairs in the morning a huge ordeal, let alone thinking about your next run. Trust me, I've been there. I had shin splints and they're miserable. And this isn't just a physical setback, it's a mental one. You see your hard-earned progress slipping away, that 10K you were training for, that marathon goal you set, the simple stress relief of a daily jog. It all gets put on hold and you're stuck on the sidelines watching others run on the pavement, feeling a mix of envy and despair. And you've probably tried the common advice: rest, ice, and maybe some basic stretches. And while that might give you some temporary relief, it often feels like putting a bandage on a bullet wound. The moment you lace up your shoes and try to get back out there, the pain returns, sometimes even worse than before. Why? Because you haven't addressed the root cause. You haven't fixed the why behind the pain, and if you let it go, this nagging pain can turn into something more serious like a tibial stress fracture, where tiny cracks form in the bone, and it's an injury that can take you out of running for months to a year. But what if I told you that you could break this cycle? What if you could move beyond just chasing the pain and start building a body that's resilient to it? This isn't about a quick fix. This is about a permanent solution. That it's about rebuilding your body from the ground up to give you a solid foundation that lets you chase your running goals without fear. Hey there, I'm Dr. Abby Seiler, and like a lot of you, I've battled the frustrating cycle of injuries before. Through the years of my own experience, research, working with patients, and really developing my abilities as a running coach and running physical therapist, I've learned that preventing shin splints isn't about one magic exercise or a special pair of shoes. It's a whole system. It's about understanding why it happens and then putting together a 3-part blueprint into action to make sure it never happens again. In this video, I'm going to break it all down. I'll deconstruct the injury itself, then rebuild your approach to running with a solid plan covering strength, smarter training, and optimizing your gear and form for running. By the end of this, you won't just understand what's causing your shin splints, you'll have a clear, actionable plan to stop them from ever ruining your run again. So, let's get started. Before we can solve the problem, we've got to truly understand it. Shin splints is a kind of catch-all term for pain along your shin bone, but the medical term for it is medial tibial stress syndrome, or MTSS. At its core, MTSS is an overuse injury. It's the classic cause of asking your body to do too much, too soon, without the right prep or recovery. Think of your shin bone, the tibia, like a skyscraper. During a run with every single footfall, that skyscraper has to withstand impact forces equal to 2 to 3 times your body weight. And just like a building is designed to sway a little in the wind, your tibia is designed to bend ever so slightly to absorb that force. This microscopic bending is totally normal, completely normal. And with good recovery, it actually tells the bone to remodel and get stronger. The problem starts when the stress is too much or too frequent and the bone doesn't get enough time to repair itself. The damage then starts to build up faster than your body can heal, and this leads to inflammation in the periosteum. That's a thin tissue sheath that covers the bone. And the muscles and tendons also attached to it. That burning pain you feel, that's your body sending out a desperate SOS signal to stop. So what triggers this overload? It's almost never just one thing, but more like a perfect storm of factors. First, and the biggest one by far, is training error. This is the #1 culprit. It's the runner who gets a sudden burst of motivation and doubles down on their training, their weekly mileage overnight. Not always that significant, but it is there. It's the person who also decides to add intense hill sprints or speed work without a gradual buildup or a good base. Your heart and your lungs adapt to new demands pretty quickly, but your bones, tendons, and muscles, your musculoskeletal system, lag behind. They need more time to build and adapt than your cardiovascular system. This is why the 10% rule, not increasing your weekly mileage, intensity, or duration by more than 10%, is so important. It respects your body's adaptation timeline. Second, we have biomechanics and running form. How you move matters. A huge issue is overstriding, which is when your foot lands way out in front of your body's center of mass, usually with a heavy heel strike. I'll link a video about heel striking, but I'm going to do a video on overstriding as well because it's a common issue for a lot of runners. When you overstride, your leg is pretty much straight when it hits the ground, creating a braking force that sends a shockwave right up to your tibia. Your shin has to take that jarring impact instead of your muscles. On top of this is a lower running cadence, or the number of steps you take per minute. And I'll link a video about cadence up here, but a lower cadence is often linked to overstriding and has been identified as a major risk factor for developing shin splints that I found. Third, there are muscle imbalances. Think of your lower leg like a game of tug of war. On the front, you have the tibialis anterior muscle, which lifts your foot up. On the back, you have your powerful calf muscles. In a lot of runners, the calves are incredibly strong and tight, while the tibialis anterior is a little bit weaker by comparison. This is a problem. When you run, especially with a heel striking pattern or an overstriding pattern, the tibialis anterior has to work hard to control the slap of your foot hitting the ground. If this small muscle gets tired and overworked, it gets inflamed right where it attaches to the shin bone. On top of that, some evidence shows that the powerful pull from the calf muscles where they attach to the tibia can be a primary source of the stress that causes that painful inflammatory response. Finally, let's talk about external factors. Where you run and what you run in play a big part. Constantly running away on hard surfaces like concrete or asphalt can dramatically increase the impact forces on your legs compared to softer surfaces like a track, grass, or dirt trails, even a treadmill. Your shoes are your first line of defense on this. If they're worn out, they've lost their cushioning and support, and they just pass that stress right up to your shins. So understanding these 4 things, training errors, biomechanics, muscle imbalances, and external factors is key to preventing shin splints. Your shin splints aren't just random bad luck. They're not genetic. They're the logical result of a system that's out of balance, out of whack. Now that we know the why that it hurts, we can build a blueprint to fix it and prevent it for good. All right, this is where we turn what we know into what to do. We're going to build your defense against shin splints from the inside out. Our blueprint has 3 critical parts. First, we fortify your body's foundation with targeted strength and flexibility. Second, we get smart about how you train and recover. And third, we optimize your gear and fine-tune your running technique. This isn't about picking and choosing parts that you want to work on. It's about putting all 3 of these things together to create a truly resilient system and body against shin splints. Think of this as building your armor before you go into battle. A strong, flexible, and balanced lower body is the best investment you can make in a pain-free running career. Too many runners just run, but the strongest runners build their capacity for running in the gym or home gym. The pain in your shins is often just a symptom of weakness somewhere else, and we're going to fix that. We need to target the key muscles that support your lower leg and absorb impact. Number 1, the tibialis anterior. This is the muscle running down the front of your shin, and a strong tibialis anterior is key for controlling your foot's motion and preventing the kind of fatigue that leads to bad form and foot slap. You don't want a floppy foot. So to do this, you want to do some seated band dorsiflexion exercises. You're going to sit in a chair and loop a resistance band around something sturdy, like a table leg. Hook the other end over the top of your foot. Now, keeping your heel on the ground, just pull your toes back toward your shin against the band's resistance. You're going to hold for a second and then slowly return. Aim for 3 sets of 15 to 20 reps. You should feel a good burn in the front of your shin. This one you can also do standing, as I'm showing in the video, and just do a tibialis anterior raise like that. Next exercise is heel walks. These are exactly what they sound like. You're going to stand up straight, lift the front of your feet or your toes off the ground so you're on your heels, and walk forward for 20 to 30 seconds. Keep your steps short and controlled. This makes that tibialis anterior really work constantly like it does during running. Do 2 to 3 sets of these. Calves are the primary engine and shock absorbers for your lower legs. Strong calves help stabilize the shin bone and reduce the force it has to take, and we need to train them in 2 ways. So first of all is the straight leg calf raise. Standing on the floor or on a step to make it a little bit harder, raise your heels up as high as you can, keeping your legs straight. Squeeze your calves at the top, then slowly lower back down. You want to start with 2 feet, and as you get stronger, move to single leg raises. This hits the big gastroc muscle, and you want to aim for 3 sets of 15. Calf raises, the soleus muscle, which is often a big player in shin splints, gets targeted better with a bent knee. So you're going to sit in a chair with your feet flat on the floor and put a weight on your thigh. Now press through the ball of your foot and lift your heel up. Pause, and then slowly lower. This isolates the soleus. Again, aim for 3 sets of 15 to 20 reps. Third group of muscles are your feet and arches. Your feet are literally your foundation. A strong arch is critical for absorbing shock. When the arch collapses, your foot can roll inward, putting rotational stress on your tibia. So to fix that, we're going to do towel scrunches. Sit in a chair with a small towel on the floor in front of you. Using only your toes, try to scrunch the towel toward you. Once you get it all, push it back out and start it over. Do this for a couple of minutes on each foot. Next, we have the short foot exercise. This one's subtle. You're going to sit with your foot flat on the floor without curling your toes or lifting your heel. Try to shorten your foot and dome your arch by pulling the ball of your foot toward your heel. You should feel the muscles in your arch fire up on this. You're going to hold for 5 to 10 seconds and repeat 10 times. Next muscle group are the hips and core. This might seem miles away from your shin splints, but it's absolutely imperative to work on these. Weakness in your hips leads to instability all the way down your leg. And if your hips are weak, your knee can collapse inward and your foot can overpronate, putting massive stress on your shins. So a strong core keeps your pelvis stable also, which prevents extra movement that your legs would have to control instead. A couple of exercises for this area for preventing shin splints. Number 1. Clamshells. You're going to lie on your side with your knees bent and stacked, keeping your feet together. Lift your top knee up without rocking your body back. Focus on squeezing your glute and do 3 sets of 15 reps on this. One of my favorite exercises for runners, glute bridges. Lie on your back, knees bent, feet flat on the floor. Drive through your heels and lift your hips up until your body is a straight line from your shoulders to your knees. Squeeze your glutes hard at the top and do 3 sets of 15. What I like about glute bridges is that you can also double duty it with a glute bridge hold and doing some soleus raises there on that as well. But that's a little bit more advanced and for a later time. Third hip and core exercise is the good old-fashioned plank. It engages your entire core, which is essential for staying stable and upright when you run. Hold for 30 to 60 seconds, work your way up to that if needed to, and do 3 sets of those. I've also created a great ultimate toolkit for runners to prevent injury. It hits all of the major areas of the body to really help prevent any type of injury coming up, the mobility and the strength that you really need. I'll link that in the description down below. It's so useful. I've had so many runners use it and not have any issues. And it takes all these different components of what I would want any runner to do and work on if they're susceptible to injury. And even if you're not susceptible to injury, it still is a great tool to use to help make sure you're hitting all the areas that really become problematic for runners that can cause injury in the long run. The second part of the blueprint, you can have the strongest legs in the world, but if you train like a fool, you'll still get hurt. This part of the plan is about working with your body's adaptation process, not against it. It is about being patient and learning to listen to your body. The 10% rule, it's a golden guideline. It gets a lot of hate because it's not specific, it's very generic, but it's still a good guideline to start with. And I've said it before, but it's worth saying again, don't increase your total weekly running volume or intensity by more than 10% per week. This is the most important rule for preventing injuries. If you ran 15 miles this week, you should run no more than 16.5 miles next. This slow and steady progression gives your bones and muscles the time they need to repair and get stronger. This applies to everything: mileage, duration, adding tough workouts like hills or track intervals. Introduce only one new stress at a time. Be patient. Consistency will always beat short-term intensity that ends up in an injury. Okay, something else. Never, ever start a run on cold muscles. A proper warm-up is non-negotiable. It gets the blood flowing, loosens up the joints, and preps your brain and muscles for the work. Forget those old school static stretches before a run. You need dynamic movement. Let's do a 5-minute dynamic warm-up. First, leg swings. Forward 10 to 15 sides on each side to side leg swings for 10 to 15 times. Set of high knees for 30 seconds. Set of butt kips for 30 seconds. Walking lunges, 10 lunges per leg. And then some super light jogging or even just walking for a minute or two before you really start to pick up the pace and get into your run. Now, just as important as the warm-up is cool down. Don't just stop your watch and head inside. A cool down helps your body gradually transition from working hard back to a resting state, and it helps clear out your muscles and get the blood moving and just makes things feel better. And you'll feel better long run. You will have less soreness and you'll just feel better overall. So a 5-minute quick cool down, 3 minutes or so of a slower walking, jogging pace, and then it's time to do some good hold and breathe stretches. Focus on your calves, your hamstrings and quads, holding each for 30 seconds. This is a great time to do the calf stretches that we just talked about, but more important than stretching for a cool down overall is going to be just a nice, easy 5-minute walk. Next, listen to your body. It's common advice, something that I give people all the time, but what does it really mean? It means learning to tell the difference between the good pain of effort and the bad pain of injury. Muscle soreness from a tough workout is normal. A sharp localized pain is not normal. Pain that gets worse as you run is a red flag, and pain you feel when you're just walking around is another red flag. If you feel that familiar ache of shin splints starting, the smartest thing you can do is back off or take a rest day. Don't rest completely. Pushing through, though, is just a recipe for a much longer forced break. There are ways to modify your running and take more rest to recovery. Rest is not a weakness, especially in those of us that are getting up there in the decades. It's part of training. Your body, it gets stronger during recovery, not during the actual workout itself. So you want to plan for at least 1 or 2 full rest days every week. And think about adding a deload week into your training every 4 to 6 weeks, where you cut way back on your mileage and intensity to let your body fully recover and adapt. These are periodization. So you have cycles, harder cycles, and then deload weeks, harder cycle, and then a deload week. These are similar to after you do a race, you take a week off or so. Not completely, but you take a week of easy walks and very easy running to deload from all that intense training that you just did. These should be interspersed every couple of months. So up until now, we've talked about strength, mobility, flexibility, and running, but cross training is also important. You want to keep your cardio fitness up and keep developing it while giving your shins a break from the impact of running. So you need to embrace cross training. Some of my favorite cross training activities are swimming. Swimming are so great. Or even aqua running. Aqua jogging's great. Cycling's fine. It's not my favorite for runners just because it works a lot of the same muscles. But my absolute favorite cross training from runners is the rowing machine, the rowerg, a Concept 2. I'll link my favorite one down below, but I love that. And adding 1 to 2 days of cross training sessions a week can really help you build a more well-rounded athletic base and cut your risk of all overuse injuries, not just shin splints. Changing up things, it develops our muscles in different ways, our cardiovascular system in different ways, and it will really make you a better runner overall and prevent injury. Okay, the final piece of the puzzle is managing the external forces that you apply to your body. This is about choosing the right tools for the job and learning to use your body more efficiently to minimize stress. Your footwear, your running shoes are probably the most important piece of gear that you own as a runner. They're your direct connection to the ground. Get the right shoe for you. Don't just buy what looks cool or what your friend wears. Go try on shoes, see which ones are comfortable, and pick the shoe that matches what you're comfortable wearing. I'll do a video on running shoes in the future and how to pick the right shoe for you, but just know it's not as complex as a lot of shoes companies and shoe stores make them seem. Get ones that are comfortable for you. The key is, 1, replace them regularly. Don't wear worn out shoes, and have more than one style and fit to alternate between, so you're changing the forces. But you want some cushion in there if you're prone to shin splints. Surfaces. Surfaces are nothing. Not all running surfaces are created equally. Concrete is the hardest and most punishing surface. Asphalt is a little bit better. A synthetic track is better still. There is no best or worst type of running surface. The key is to mix it up. It's not always easy to find a trail, but try to vary your running surfaces between the treadmill, indoor track, outdoor track, concrete, asphalt, grass even, just to give your legs and muscles a break from the harder asphalt. It changes how your body runs and how it reacts to that and the forces through your body, which helps you adapt better. Again, that's part of that overuse, is doing the exact same thing over and over again. If you can change your surface that you're on, you're less likely to get an overuse injury because of the surface. The other part of external factors that cause shin splints is your form. This is a high level skill that can permanently change your relationship with running injuries though. Improving your form is all about learning to run in a way that minimizes impact and spreads the force out more effectively through your body. Cadence is king. Your running cadence is your step rate, or steps per minute. A video about cadence up here. A lot of runners, especially those who overstride, have a low cadence, about 160 steps per minute or less. Just by increasing your cadence by 5 to 10%, you can make a huge difference. A higher cadence naturally makes you take shorter, quicker steps, which makes it almost impossible to overstride. This helps your foot land more underneath your body instead of way out in front of you, and landing under your hips reduces that braking force and lets your muscles act like springs and absorb the returning injury, instead of your bones just taking the hit of constantly stopping yourself from the forward momentum. So aiming for a range of 170 to 180 steps per minute is a great goal for most runners. You can use a metronome app on your watch or a feature on your running watch to practice. It'll feel weird at first, like you're taking a little choppy steps, but stick with it, but don't do it for the entire run. Again, that video about cadence will go through all of that for you. Powerful cue, try to run more quietly. Loud, slapping footsteps are a really good sign of high impact forces. So to run quietly though, you have to land more softly and use your muscles to control your landing. This often encourages more of a midfoot strike instead of a heel strike, and that overstriding heel strike, which helps spread the impact out more evenly. Another form is check your posture. Run tall like there's a string pulling you up from the top of your head. Keep your core tight to keep your pelvis stable, and lean forward slightly from your ankles, not by bending at your waist. This helps propel you forward and engages your feet to land underneath you. If you want a good way to work on posture and improve that posture, I have a video about weighted walking for runners, and it really makes a big difference on running form and your overall posture for running and staying upright. That really makes a big difference. So check that video out. All right, fixing your form takes time and practice. You could even get a video gait analysis from a physical therapist like me and get personalized run feedback, but it's not necessary. If you want one, feel free to send me a message. I'd be more than happy to do one with you. But I don't feel like that's necessary. Take these small little steps first and you can make a big difference. All right, you now have the complete blueprint that I use to prevent shin splints in my runners. You have the knowledge and the tools to take back control of your running, but knowledge is only powerful if you actually use it. I can talk until my face turns blue about this, but if you don't actually do it, just like I say with my patients, if you don't do what I tell you to do, nothing's gonna change. So my question to you is, what is the one thing from this video that you are going to start doing this week? Are you finally going to start a consistent strength routine? Are you going to download a metronome app and work on your running cadence? Or are you going to book that appointment at a running store, or don't even get an appointment, just go get a new pair of shoes that you've been putting off for the past 6 months to a year. I get it, running shoes are expensive, but if you're a runner, they're necessary. They're the most important component of your running tool. Let me know in the comments below. I want to hear your comment. When you share your plan, you're not just holding yourself accountable, you're inspiring someone else in this community that watches these videos to take that first step too, and we all get better by working together. That's what's great about the running community. And hey, if this video was helpful, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'm always sharing evidence-based strategies to help you run farther, faster, and most importantly, pain-free. To help you even more, my 12-week foot and ankle program is the perfect program to prevent injuries such as shin splints in their tracks or from starting in the first place. I'll link it in the description below. It encompasses everything that can possibly go wrong in a foot and ankle injury, and that includes shin splint. Okay, I've covered a lot today, so let's bring it all home. The frustration of shin splints forcing you to the sidelines is a feeling no runner should have to accept. It's not a rite of passage. It is a signal that something in your system is out of balance, but you have the power to fix that. Remember the 3 keys to your prevention plan. Fortify your foundation, train smart, and optimize your gear and form. It's about building strength from your hips down to your toes to make a more robust athlete out of you. We are all athletes. It's about respecting your body's need to adapt slowly and recover fully, and it's about refining how you move and choosing the right equipment to work with your body, not against it. Remember, this is a long-term strategy and not an overnight cure. It takes patience, consistency, and commitment to start doing the little things that so many runners skip. But the payoff is huge. The freedom to chase your running goals without that constant fear of pain coming back, and you have the power to change your story from one injury and frustration to one of strength, resilience, and many, many years of running. And please remember, while this guide is comprehensive and based on solid evidence, it's not a substitute for professional medical advice. If you're dealing with severe, persistent, or very localized pain, it's so important to see a doctor or physical therapist. They can rule out more serious injuries like stress fractures and give you a personalized diagnosis and treatment plan. If you need one of those, feel free to book a free consult call with me. I'll link that down in the description as well. Now, go build that resilient body. Your next pain-free run is just waiting for you. I'll see you guys next time.